Hi all, I'm Esrado and you're watching my travel channel where I talk all things Colombia. Today's video is going to be a little shorter than usual as I just wanted to talk briefly about some current news in Colombia that you really ought to know about if you're planning on traveling there anytime soon. So basically within Colombia's Andes mountain range there are several volcanoes known as the Cordillera Central. One of these volcanoes, Nevado Del Ruiz, rests on the edge of the departments of Caldas and Tolima, and like most of its neighbours, it's what's known as a stratovolcano. These types probably resemble the classic image you'd get in your head when you think of volcanoes, as they're characterised by their very distinctive cone-like shape, and when they erupt they can be very explosive. During an eruption they can effuse a violent flow of harmful ash, gases and lava. In the case of Nevado del Ruiz, there are also large glaciers atop the volcano, meaning that when those elements are emitted, the snow on top rapidly melts. As you can imagine, when the snow melts into water, it moves very quickly down the steep slopes of the volcano and mixes with the volcanic debris, building up thick layers of mud flows known as lahars. These lahars are easily the deadliest aspect of an eruption. Due to the volume and speed at which they can flow, they can wipe out entire villages very quickly, and this is exactly what happened in 1985, when the world's most fatal lahar in recorded history occurred in the Colombian department of Tolima. During a vicious eruption of Nevado del Ruiz, mudslides ran down the volcano at an average of around 60 kilometers an hour. Upon reaching the surrounding river valleys, they snowballed in volume to around 4 times their initial size. Among one of these valleys was the village of Armero, which was tragically swept away, killing around 25,000 people, 3/4 of the town's population. The eruption also caused a further 1,800 deaths in another river valley town, Chinchilla, in the department of Caldas. Whilst a mass evacuation prior to the eruption could have saved thousands of lives, this did not happen, as village residents were largely left in the dark about the impending disaster. Scientists couldn't provide any concrete predictions as to when the eruption would occur, and without this, the government wasn't willing to provide the necessary financial aid towards preventative measures. There were some evacuation maps distributed by scientific agencies warning about the potential flooding in the weeks leading up to it, but these were frustratingly belittled by the government, rendering them redundant to many residents. When you add to this the fact that the volcano hadn't erupted in 140 years, and a terribly timed storm which outed electricity and disrupted means of telecommunications just hours prior, you can see why locals were unaware or at least doubtful of anything happening. So why do I bring all this up? Well, as it happens, Nevado del Ruiz is currently in a state of high risk, as on the 30th of March 2023, geologist authorities issued an orange alert for the volcano. The way this code works is that there are 4 colours, green, yellow, orange and red, which signal the level of concern in regard to volcanic activity. The orange level that Nevado del Ruiz is currently in is the second highest alert level, just under red, and in this case it signifies that an eruption is imminent. The official description from authorities was that the volcano is expected to erupt within days or weeks, and this has been the status for the last 3 months at the time of uploading this. The alert was issued after tremors inside the crater increased from 50 to 12,000 per day, which indicates the highest possibility of an eruption this decade. Since then, thick clouds of ash, gas and vapour have formed around the mountain, and residents of Manizales and the nearby Villa Maria have reported a stench in the air. In response to the alert, the government has thankfully been more proactive than they were in 1985 and have advised around 2,500 local families to evacuate. Once again though, many, if not most of these residents have been very hesitant to heed this warning. A lot of people who have cattle, for instance, don't want to abandon their livelihoods. Others are concerned about the potential for robberies if they abandon their homes. To make matters worse, a lot of local businesses are suffering due to the fact that tourism and just visitors in general have come to a halt for obvious reasons. Many people are struggling to make ends meet, and financially supporting themselves and their families would be even trickier if they were to evacuate. As I said, there has been an evacuation effort from the government. Whether or not residents oblige, though, I think is largely up to whether or not the government provides them with sufficient financial aid to leave their livelihoods, which doesn't look to be really happening. I really hope at the very least that geologists could warn residents hours before an eruption if they know it's going to happen, but unfortunately there's no guarantee. Until then, there's really no telling what's around the corner. Of course, we can only hope this doesn't end in a tragedy, but for now, all we can do is keep our ears to the ground for any updates. Anyway, I just wanted to make this video to spread the word about the situation. If you happen to be traveling to Colombia, you'll probably want to avoid any of the nearby municipalities and the rural towns in the departments of Tolima, Caldas, Risaralda, Quindío, and Cundinamarca. In terms of the cities in these departments, I can't speak for the level of risk there, although they shouldn't be as affected by an eruption as the nearby towns. At the very least, though, somewhere further like Bogota should be fine beyond a small potential amount of gas in the air, nothing likely too unbearable though. Manizales, Pereira, Ibagué, and Armenia, on the other hand, could likely experience some much more intense ashfall and volcanic gases, so that's just something to be aware of. Personally, I'm going to avoid these cities for the most part until an eruption happens or it dies down, but I'll let you make that call for yourself. That's all for now though. I hope I was able to inform you a bit about what's going on. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!